Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Double Stuff podcast, where we're double the hosts, now double the topics, and double the fun. I'm Alan.
I'm Charity.
I'm Sarah.
Thanks, guys.
It's contagious. Now we all have to do a goofy name when we record.
It starts us off on the right foot.
It does. That's how we speak with our right feet.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
So, let's go ahead and get this party started.
Okay, so we need a reach into the topic bucket. So, Sarah, you're going to be the one that's going to draw.
Yes.
So let's see what our first topic is going to be.
The first topic is drumroll. How do you relax?
Oh, that'll be a good one. Okay,
All
and then
right.
the second
The second
topic.
one is... Is at any point not even still a drum roll?
I don't have a pair of drums, okay?
Yeah, I feel like we're at Christmas vacation. They're all doing Anyway, go ahead.
Okay, so how do you relax is the first one. The second one is, what era had the best fashions and hairstyles?
Okay.
So which one do you want to start with first?
Charity, why don't you let us know, how do you relax?
I sleep, Alan.
Yeah,
I
that's
go
a
to
good
bed.
one.
Well, I guess that's more like tired.
Yeah. No, for like, I assume relaxing is just what do you do for fun to like,
Right.
The wind down and
Yeah. Well, I recently finally started reading again, which it's like, obviously everybody reads or whatever, but sometimes I think I watch too much TV, which is what I'm currently doing to relax.
Yeah.
And so I'm actually going to see how well I can do this week in giving up TV. I can't give up social media because I help run pages for work and stuff.
Sure.
But if I can give up TV and like take some time to read, maybe do some drawing. I used to do art all the time and I haven't done it in forever. So kind of taking one way of relaxing and throwing it out the window for this week and trying something different. So that's what I'm doing this week. We'll see. I'll have to report to you guys next time and see how well I did.
Now, do you have a specific, so you mentioned reading, do you have like a book list that you're trying to go through? Or?
I mean, I like mysteries, so I went to the library yesterday and just picked up some random books because I get attached to characters and to certain authors, and then I don't read anything else by them. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna blindly pick up 4 books and just kind of maybe the topic is interesting or whatever, so I'll just grab those.
Of those authors that you like, or just random? Just
random. So I went to the certain place that I look at. It's if you're at Rockwell's library, there's the mystery section over by the computers, and that first section of the shelf is usually where I'm at because it's Kate Carlisle, so her last name starts with a C. So there's 4 other shelves that I don't even look at on the other side. So I went to the other side this time, living dangerously.
I was gonna say stepping over, huh?
Yeah. So I got 4 books yesterday, and we'll see how that goes. But I'm excited to start reading again because I bought a chair when I moved to my apartment. I bought this reading chair.
Yeah.
And I've been sitting in it, but I didn't read anything. So I'm like, maybe I should read in my reading chair for once. So
that's interesting too. Do you ever find that different seasons, different genres come up? Like in the winter, I love thrillers, murder mysteries, and things like that.
That's like a cozy murder mystery.
And then in the summers, I'm more, I like adventure, box office smashes or whatever, like the Marvels or maybe a comedy. But I don't really do those that much in the winter. I'm usually looking more for a mystery. I don't know.
Well, there's a genre called cozy mysteries, which I recently discovered a couple years ago. And it's basically, I don't want to say it's like old lady books, but it's like a cozy mystery is a mystery story. It usually takes place in a small town. The girl's usually the protagonist or whatever. So you have a murder or a theft or a kidnapping or something to solve, but it's not super bloody, gory, gross. It's like a Hallmark, which some of the books that I've read have been created into Hallmark movies. Yeah. So it's like Hallmark status where it's relaxing to read, but it's still a mystery. And so you're not reading about the blood and the guts and the stabbings and shootings and all that.
Yeah, Charity mentioned that in the Red Herrings episode, so I'll say the same thing. It's a good old-fashioned murder.
Yeah.
Just something you just want to cozy up to and say, who's the expendable character this time?
Yeah, basically.
I love in Father Brown that we carry here on Channel 8, the inspector picks up on the joke every now and again. It's like, oh, there's a murder. Fancy seeing you here. Or something like that.
It's like whenever you see him, it's like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Who got it this time?
That's right.
I think they do that on Grantchester as well if you watch that. Because it's another vicar helping solve a murder. So it's sort of, except one's cuter than the other. But, Not that you would notice that, Alan, but I certainly did.
No, I can tell that one is more attractive than the other. I can.
He can appreciate that.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
All right. Well, how about you, Sarah? How do you choose to relax?
Honestly, it's sometimes the way I relax is the same way I work sometimes. It's just depending on the time of day I do it. So, I really do enjoy illustrating and doing that kind of stuff. And even though I do that for work and for projects, I actually find I find it therapeutic, and sometimes I just do it just to do it. I know that sounds weird.
No more Photoshop for work. Let me relax.
Uh-huh.
Let's turn Photoshop back on.
Yeah.
I know it's so weird, but I actually do find that rather therapeutic. I do, and this is recent. I would say recent within the past, I think it was 2020. I know me and you talked about this for a little bit, watching like restoration videos.
Oh, I love restoration videos.
So I started getting into those a couple years ago, and I've found that very just relaxing to watch.
Uh-huh.
It's just cool seeing someone, like you said, take something, a 100-year-old halfway corroded object of some sort, and just seeing how they, disassemble everything, take it through they polish it, they sand it, all that kind of stuff, and it's just cool to see it in its former glory, or even probably in better condition than it was 100 years ago. Mm-hmm. So maybe, again, I guess that's still a creative aspect.
It's also interesting to see like the iterations. Like we often the things that we use in our everyday life, it's things that have been used for over 100 years or since the Industrial Revolution took place. Yeah. But it's interesting to see like the first iterations. I was just watching a restoration video, now that you brought it up, and I had no idea what it was. It was like some sort of contraption, and must have taken, I don't know how long that it takes to restore something to its former glory, to like sandblast off all the rust and get everything. But at the end, it was a stapler. And it was this giant monstrosity.
I think I saw that.
Yeah,
it's enormous.
At the end, I was thinking, was it really worth it though? The amount of time and energy that it went into it.
How big was it?
It looked almost like it was probably the size of like what a blender would be with the arm, like a.
It was quite large.
It was large and it was heavy, but it still used. It looked like what he loaded into the tray for the staples were modern staples. So that technology hasn't improved. It's still a wire, that's been bent.
And I think that stapler, if that's the same video we saw, is fairly recent, like 1960s. So it's still a fairly recent. If that's the same video that we're thinking about.
It could be.
So the shots were just close up that you couldn't tell what it was until they zoomed out.
So a lot of these, like when they do the restorations, you're like, knife, axe, a pair of scissors.
Yeah.
But some are kind of hard.
Yeah, some are like, okay, this is interesting because it's a machine.
Okay.
And I don't know what it is. And then at the end they show its use, but when it takes that amount of time and energy to go into something that you could go to, even to your grocery store to get a little stapler or something like that to achieve the same goal, it's pretty interesting. Okay.
Yeah, but that's what kind of
totally
relaxes me.
Hijacked your relaxation.
Well, you guys had a little bonding moment because you watched the same video.
I know. We did. No, but that's why I do the relax or just listen to some big band music. That's always nice. So yeah, that's kind of how I like to relax.
Okay.
What about you? He took a big breath.
Alan doesn't relax. He has 2 children.
I have a lot to do. I try to do. I do need to relax a lot more. Before we started recording this episode, we were just talking about how my children are going into a new age of their own, coming up on the teenage years and everything that comes along with it. And I've realized in the last couple weeks that I have to become a different parent. My parenting style has to change along with them, and it's been stressful. And I've lost my temper a couple of times, and I had to apologize to my girls that I lost my temper and I got to work on my patience. So I don't know. I mean,
well, you can make a deal. I won't lose my temper. You won't lose your temper. Right?
That's usually how it goes. But at the same time, it's I want to make sure that I'm an approachable parent, that I'm not somebody to you have to flinch around or something like that. So I want to make sure that my girls are comfortable with me, with them in the room at the same time. But at the same time, I need to make sure that with my patients that I feel like I'm doing a therapy session. Okay. Yeah. So I need to come up. So to answer the question, that's a really long roundabout. In the past, my forms of relaxation has been fishing. I love to fish. I love to take care of my lawn, as we've discussed. In fact, I've been I've recently upped my lawn game, and I've gone to a different elevation. I've elevated my lawn game, and now I'm getting into
higher ground. Sorry.
Well, I'm becoming or studying arborists and like how to trim my trees and things like that.
To turn them into like animals and stuff.
No, okay, that's like level 10. I'm on level 1.
Sorry, okay, I shot way up.
That's like park ranger, Alan.
Yeah.
Like.
But I have learned like different, or I've expanded my vocabulary to like on trees. There's what are called suckers. Have you ever heard that?
Suckers
Well,
on
not in the term,
Yeah.
not in the term that you're referring to.
That's yeah. No, these are lollipops that are growing on my trees.
I want a lollipop tree, Alan.
No, but just like all the like little limbs that grow off of other limbs that cause clutter and things like that.
Oh,
those
like pruning and all.
Yeah, they need to be pruned. But I've never really paid attention to trees, and so now that I am, not only that, but I have a limb that's growing over a couple of power lines in my backyard, and I was getting kind of nervous. However, ding, 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 I did a little detective work going back to your mysteries, and I noticed that one of the cables goes to a Cox box, so that's a cable. It's not a power line. And then the other one goes to an AT&T box, so it's a phone line, not a power line. So I don't have to worry about being electrocuted. So I'm going to go get that limb.
So if your neighbor is like, hey, my internet went out, I can't watch TV, you're like, whoops, that wasn't a branch.
It must be Alan the arborist again.
Yeah. Lay off me, I'm relaxing.
He's just out in his yard with his shears. Oh, no.
So at least now that you're starting to dabble in the arbory, is that a word? I don't know.
Arborism.
Arborism is a new religion.
I will say that what I've been trying to do with my techniques, only because as all of us within media, pretty much most of our day is indoors. I'm trying to take my relaxation and outside and do as much as I can.
I was actually going to say that when you were talking about your girls and you know the struggles that you're having. You know, it's sort of that time of year, like we just had another snow.
That's true.
So you're inside a lot. It's cold, you know, but we're approaching spring and then summer. So there's going to be more outdoor activities. They can go out and, you know, get out of the house.
Get all their angst
Yeah, because, I mean, honestly, after a while, I mean, even in my place, and I'm by myself, sometimes I'm like, I just need to sit in another room. Like, I'll get out of my office area, and sometimes I'll bring my work down to the kitchen table. I'm like, okay, at least I changed my surroundings. Like,
That's
sometimes
true.
stuff like that helps, too.
That's true. And one of the things that I know the three of us enjoy, my girls and myself, my wife too, when she can, is sometimes I'll just get off work and go to the Y, get the girls, and we'll go to the Y when they open up the water park.
Water
park.
That
one. The water park. And we have a lot of fun there too.
Well,
Yeah,
and of
that's
course,
fun.
well, since you're married now, in terms of relaxing, you know, maybe you and your wife, do you guys like go out to dinner sometimes, or when you're able to fit it in?
When we have the paycheck, sure, yeah.
Well, I didn't say you're going to go to a 5-star. You got to wear your tuxedos.
Hey,
and
McDonald's
your ball gowns.
run, sit in the parking lot, turn on some music.
Hey,
there is nothing wrong
honestly,
with that.
that's some nice relaxation.
Like,
Because me and Charity have done that.
Yeah, well, not like a date, but
No, not like a date.
like, give me a box of fries and I'm good. Like, let's just hang out for a second.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that.
We
to
have
be out,
we have
We're cheap dates.
well, not only that, but we've been talking about making sure that we can relax with ourselves, but also with those that are around us. I think that's a really important. Now, on to our second topic, which is what era had the best fashions and hairstyles?
Yes.
I would say late 60s, early 70s. So like
Really?
1968 to like 73. And like the makeup, I know makeup's not part of the question, but like
Well,
I love
it still goes with like fashion.
I love the
and stuff,
bold
I think.
eye that they would have, or if you, my sister and I like to watch Laugh-In,
Rowan
Okay.
and
Martin's
so
Laugh-In,
they'll
yeah.
have like their little dance parties and stuff. Like if you look up pictures of Goldie Hawn,
Or
like
Ruth
Twiggy,
Buzzy,
or like
or
like Bridget Bardot, like they had that really dramatic makeup, and the clothes were just fantastic. I mean,
Yeah.
how fun was that? And there's pictures. We were talking about this earlier today at church.
That's the best time to talk about 60s, 70s fashion.
Well, no, but before, while my dad was preaching, he showed a picture of himself when he was, like 17?
When he was in college, so
it was something. Yeah, 70s, so he still had the big afro, like Soul Train style,
nice.
you know?
Yeah,
so that's fun. They just had great outfits back then. That's my favorite. Sort of funky fresh.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah, that was the term Charity wanted to use.
Hashtag funky fresh.
No,
is what the kids are saying.
There was a guy at church that was looking very retro, just the way his hair was. And
he had like a Three's Company sort of vibe. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was like, oh, that looks like John Ritter. It was funny because Charity called him Funky Fresh.
Funky Fresh, man.
So would you be in agreement that would be yours as well?
Yes, I really do like that era. That had really great clothes. I don't have a lot, but I like loud patterns and bright colors, and I would love to have that in my wardrobe and stuff. But to see, for me, because I'm also a big fan of like the 1920s and 1930s. Mm-hmm. So I love the fashion from that era as well. Yeah, and if you look at a lot of stuff from the 60s, for them it was their throwback to their 20s.
Yeah.
So if you look at some of the styles that they wore back during the flapper era, you kind of see some of those nuances in the 60s and stuff. So in a way, you're kind of getting the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
And so I really enjoy that era. I can't say, I don't know if I say I would have loved to live during then, but the odds of me finding outfits would have been easier.
The farther back we go in time, the worse it gets for us. So we'll stay right there.
So some things don't bode well, but man, the fashions were great.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but what about you? Since you seem to be so savvy in the fashion industry.
I'm not. That's
he's looking at like 70s lawn care.
Yeah, I don't really think that much about hairstyles and fashion. I do appreciate it when somebody takes the time to really put a lot of thought into how they went to go out, and I can appreciate that because I don't. But I would say, as far as like the era, I think it's ours, the ones that we're living in, because not only do we have the ability to dress however you want, you can find a group that dresses like you. You don't have to feel like you're a weirdo or an outsider for wanting to wear Atari shirts or whatever. I mean, there's plenty of people that want to do that, and it's a lot of fun.
I think you could wear that early 1900s scarf, like he's got the beard for it, but like put a derby on him and get like the vest.
Oh my gosh,
and a pocket watch. You need a pocket watch, Alan.
He would totally look great in a derby. Oh my
going back to how I introduced this, that it takes a lot of thought that goes into making sure that you're going out well dressed. Do
you own a suit?
I do. Yeah,
it's never used, but it's in the closet.
It's in crisp condition, though.
One of the things that I do enjoy about working in media, and especially in production, is I don't have to wear a suit. So the days of when I tried to do my corporate stint, and there's an expectation or a memo goes out, gently reminding everybody to dress professionally. That really doesn't happen in the production side.
We have to get down and dirty with things, so you can't really wear the perfect.
There are some extra. You can't show up and cut off some flip flops, but I know people that have.
Yeah.
Well,
in that case, a memo goes out, but that's more for like safety.
It's more of a liability.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I know from last Christmas at my other job, one of the things that we did, we were setting up some Christmas decorations, and we were hanging some lights from the ceiling in the sanctuary, and it's a very tall ceiling. So I'm like, the way it's set up, if I have pictures, I'll have to show you guys someday, but like you're basically walking on these small
catwalk.
Yeah, like that, in these small planks, and you're crawling in like dust and stuff. I'm like, yeah, you don't want to dress up like Cinderella that day.
No, that would be unreasonable. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. See, the thing is that, but I do agree with the fact that it does work out in this era that it seems like we've taken almost all of the fashion tips from the past, I don't know, 200-300 years even, and then you just dump it all into this 2000s millennium era. I mean, I don't know if we're ever going to bring back powdered wigs and stuff. That might be a bit
I don't know that we're bringing back padded shoulders or shoulder pads,
well, I mean, the 80s is really big right now.
That's nostalgic, but even if you go back,
I think Stranger Things had something to do with the 80s.
Could be.
If you incorporate stuff into pop culture, it makes it relevant again. But it also shows that things don't change much, because it's still throwback, even though it's really cool. We're still living something that you weren't alive 50, 60, 100 years ago.
Right.
But it is kind of nice that that's available.
But see, now the 2000s are coming back, though. So, like, the 80s, like, it's still very popular. Like, throwback to the 80s. But now, as time goes on, it's like a throwback to the 2000s. So you're going to see some. That's why flares are coming back, because that was our throwback to the 70s.
To the 90s to the 70s.
Yeah, to the 70s. And so since we had that as our fashion style, it's coming back now. So it's like a double throwback.
Yeah.
But you're going to see like some of the makeup styles are coming back. Like if you look at videos, early Green Day, like the band, thick eyeliner. Like I've seen some students kind of wearing that type of stuff. So I'm like, okay, we're going back to like mid 2000s grunge, like punk rock style.
Yeah. Now this is what we've been talking about is just what you would wear outside, but as far as relaxing wear.
Ooh, look at you connecting the two.
Yes, I was wondering how we were going to connect these.
And I'll just throw my hat out there. I do think that sometimes we can relax our fashion a little bit too much.
Especially when you're out in public.
In public, I've seen people like in pajama bottoms.
It's Walmart chic, I think is the term, right?
Walmart chic.
Oh, okay. See,
because you see all of that.
Yeah, I'm there is a lot of truth to dress like the person that you want, or to the status that you want to be.
Well, in that case, we know exactly who some of those. We know what status they are.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, come on, just put in a little bit more effort, And I understand that sometimes you're out of milk, and you're relaxing, watching your Netflix thrillers or whatever, and you're like, I just want a little bit of milk.
That's what DoorDash is for, right? That way you don't have to get
good point. So you don't have to reveal it to the world. Yeah, I don't think that it's appropriate to wear sleepwear outdoors. That's just me.
I'm not too keen on that. No, I will say maybe in terms of casual, I do agree that sometimes it might be a little too casual, and it's just me. I feel like I don't know if it's a vast difference between the casualness of guys and girls, but it's like you never see, even if there's a fancy event, whatever fancy is termed as, you really don't see people dress up as much, especially for like some kind of red carpet event or something. And I feel like that even that is still a casual thing, because I seldom see guys really put together like they used to. I feel like the girls probably go through a lot more effort, but the guys, you just throw on a shirt and tie and it's like, what? I'm done, And sometimes I kind of wish that maybe guys would be a little bit more put together, or even.
Okay.
Well, that's coming back now though. I've seen videos of people kind of like we were talking about. Alan would be the good early 1900s.
Yeah.
Like some people are reversing it. And
they
it's like,
are.
No,
yeah.
I want to wear a suit, and they have stuff custom made and stuff.
Yeah.
I've seen lots of videos like that.
That's true. So all we gotta do is find a guy that actually has that that bit of fashion sense.
Well, while you're looking for that guy, and if you agree or disagree with any of our observations and opinions today on fashion and relaxing.
Opinions, those are facts, Alan.
Hard facts.
Well, let us know, and Sarah's going to let you know where you can comment on what your ideas of relaxing or your idea of fashion or mashing them together, what they might be.
Thanks, Alan. Yeah, so check us out. We're available on all the different podcast platforms. You can also listen to us on YouTube at Double Stuff Podcast. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Double Stuff Podcast. Website, doublestuffpod.com, and of course Twitter on Double Stuff P, and that's the letter P.